Hello and welcome to Mentally Ripped Radio. Thanks for stopping by. I'm your host, Alex Friesen. Today we are talking about Neville Goddard's The Feeling is the Secret. Now, before we get started, just know that this is not the original text. This is my own personal breakdown and understanding of the original text. I did my best to go through the book line for line, and this was my takeaway from it. If you haven't read the original, please do yourself a favor and read it. Hopefully this one gives you some added benefit, but what you're about to hear is quite different than the original. And as I'm not Neville Goddard, obviously, I may be missing the mark with some of my interpretations, and what I'm saying may be quite different than your interpretation of the source material. Now, the reason I wrote this is that from time to time, I find Neville to be a little bit complicated and a little bit hard to follow, and I just wanted an easier to comprehend version. In any event, please enjoy and let the feeling of the wish fulfilled flow through you. Chapter 1. Law and its operations. Consciousness is the combination of the conscious and subconscious mind. Everything in the external world is consciousness objectified. Consciousness is both the cause of the world and everything in it. We need to look within consciousness to discover the secrets of creation. The only reality is consciousness. Like a stream that splits two ways, we have the conscious and subconscious minds, also known as the head or mind and the heart in metaphysical teachings. The conscious mind is personal. It works how you program it based on personal experiences and patterns of thought. And selective. It decides if things are right or wrong, good or bad, etc. The subconscious is impersonal. It works the same for everyone. And it is also neutral. It's objective and non-judgmental. You could say that conscious means the effect or the objective world, and subconscious means cause or the subjective world. Conscious plus subconscious equals consciousness. The conscious mind generates ideas that are impressed on the subconscious. The subconscious gives those ideas form and expression. We think of an idea first, then it's impressed on the subconscious. The idea then is conceived or impregnated in the subconscious. The potency of a conscious thought and its ability to impregnate the subconscious depends upon the conscious belief in the idea itself. Belief can be swayed or bypassed through relaxation. Think of hypnosis. Gestation, the developmental period between the time an idea is conceived to the time it's expressed in the physical reality, begins inside the subconscious mind until it's birthed as a physical equivalent of the idea that has been accepted by the subconscious mind. Until an idea is accepted by the subconscious mind, it will not manifest in the physical world. Through the power of imagination and feeling, and our freedom to choose our own thoughts, we have control over creation. Control over our subconscious mind and reality creation, then, is made possible by controlling and directing our thoughts and feelings. The subconscious has access to everything in and out of creation, everything that is, was, ever will be, or ever could be. It translates feelings into their physical equivalent in the material world. Assuming, embracing, and embodying a feeling leaves the subconscious no choice but to manifest its equivalent in the material world. What you think about with feeling is what produces your outer world, whether good or bad. If you feel good about something, you will see it in reality the way you intended. If you feel bad about something you want to manifest, you will create its opposite, as fear pushes the desire further from realization. The stronger the feeling, the deeper the impression. Nothing has any emotional weight in the subconscious until it's given feeling. Feeling is the only way to leave impressions on the subconscious mind. And notice that he says feeling, not emotion, because the emotion is like the words that we use to describe it. The feeling is the experiential. It's the experience itself. If we don't control our feelings, we leave ourselves open to undesirable states, circumstances, situations, and outcomes. If you don't choose, life will choose for you. Controlling a feeling doesn't mean restraining, resisting, or suppressing it. It means disciplining ourselves to imagine and entertain only the feelings that add to our happiness. Resisting a feeling will only add more weight in the subconscious, leaving a big impression, moving us further away from what we wanted in the first place. Don't feed attention to negative feelings or give sympathy to quote-unquote wrong feelings, such as fear, negativity, or limitation. in any shape or form. We mustn't dwell on the imperfection of ourselves or others. This will only impress the subconscious with false beliefs of limitation that do not exist in reality. If there's something that we don't want or would rather avoid, don't think about it, and don't do, say, think, or be it to other people. This is the entire law for living a full and happy life. Everything else is an opinion. Every feeling leaves an impression on the subconscious, and unless it's replaced by a more powerful feeling of the opposite nature, it must be expressed in some way in our lives. To understand what our dominant feelings are, we only have to look at the current state of our lives. If we hold two feelings simultaneously, the stronger one will be expressed in our lives. What we feel to be true about us is more powerful than what we'd like to believe about ourselves. In order to realize our wish, it has to be felt as if it were, not as if it were not. The feeling always comes before the demonstration. It is the foundation that all manifestation is based on. We must watch our moods, our prolonged and or extended emotional states, and our feelings, because there's a direct connection between our feelings and our outer world. Our bodies are emotional translators and show the undeniable marks of our frequent emotions. Kind of like a 3D printer, where the blueprint that you give it is the thought, and the expression of that thought is the printed object itself. Emotional distresses, especially suppressed emotions, are the cause of all disease. To have intense, quote-unquote, wrong feelings, again, fear, negativity, or limitation, or anything along those lines, without talking about it or expressing it, and he means expressing it with the intention of finding a solution, is the birth of disease in both the body and the environment. Holding on to limiting beliefs causes further retraction and impedes our ability to grow. When we do this, we shrink rather than expand, causing our light to go out and also to make us heavy. So it's not just our light in the sense of brightness, but also in weight, because the things that are heavy to us weigh us down and keep us from ascending. We actually invite disease when we feed our energy, time, or attention to feelings of regret, failure, and frustration, or when we abandon our goals, purpose, and intentions. Instead, we have to direct and intensify our feelings towards states we'd like to experience and realize. Quote-unquote miracles happen when we feel the future state as a present reality, while living and acting on the conviction and assumption that it already is. All changes in our outer world are the result of and expression of a change in our feelings. Changing our feelings changes our destiny, like changing the track on the railroad of life. All creation occurs first in the realm of the subconscious. What we must acquire is control over how we direct our thoughts and feelings. It's the result of law, not luck or fate, that's responsible for what happens to us in our lives. Our subconscious impressions determine the conditions of our world. The subconscious isn't selective. It's neutral and will do only as directed. It is impersonal and no respecter of persons. It doesn't see any one of us as better or worse. It just does as it's programmed to do, just like the search bar on Google. The subconscious doesn't care whether what we feel is based on truth or not, but it always accepts what we believe with feeling to be true. Feeling is what allows the subconscious to accept a subjective belief as if it were an objective truth. Because of the quality of the subconscious mind, anything and everything is possible to mankind. Whatever the mind can achieve and believe to be true with feeling, the subconscious can and must express in the physical world. Whatever the mind of man can conceive and believe, it can achieve. The subconscious never fails to express what has been impressed on it. The second it receives an impression, it begins working out how it can be expressed. Life begins working for you when we begin making subconscious impressions through feeling. Feeling creates the subconscious belief. Increased feelings make things move into your life more rapidly. The subconscious accepts an impressed feeling as a fact because it exists somewhere inside of the vast mind of infinity, and immediately begins forming a plan for the unfoldment and realization of the feeling's physical equivalent. It will reproduce the feeling's exact corresponding physical likeness in the outer objective world. Like how a house is the physical equivalent of its blueprint. Once impressed, the subconscious cannot alter a belief. Therefore, the subconscious can't be more or less specific than the feeling it was given. It can only do the work with the details it's been given. It will give you exactly what you ask of it, but that's not to say you'll get exactly what you want. The subconscious will create the physical equivalent of the idea that was given to it. It cannot change the blueprints it was given. If you ask for the wrong thing, it won't just know what you meant to ask for, only what you literally asked for. You have to fill in all the blanks because it won't do it for you. It will not be less specific than you are. To impress the subconscious with desirable states, we must assume the feeling that we'd feel if our wish had already been fulfilled. When we define our objectives, we must be concerned with only the objective itself. Don't worry about the how. How it will come about is none of your concern and will only lead to doubt and insecurity. Thinking feelingly on any state leaves some degree of impression on the subconscious. Dwelling on the difficulties, delays, and barriers will only slow down, interrupt, or nullify the process because of the subconscious's non-selective and neutral nature. This could result in us getting less than what we wanted, not getting what we wanted at all, or getting what we didn't want because we impressed the wrong feeling in our subconscious mind. Feeling hopeless or as if something were impossible impresses the subconscious with the idea of failure. In the Bible, the prophets refer to the subconscious as the servant of man, and was personified by St. Paul as the woman. St. Paul said, the woman, or the subconscious mind, should be the subject to the man, the conscious mind, in everything. The subconscious mind does indeed serve mankind and faithfully gives form to our feelings, but it doesn't respond to coercion. Rather than commands, it responds to persuasion, resembling a beloved wife that needs to be treated with respect. The husband, or conscious mind, is the head of the wife, the subconscious mind. So not literally, but metaphorically as the conscious and subconscious minds. When St. Paul referred to the mystery and said, "He that loves his wife," or impresses loving ideas and feelings into their subconscious mind, loves himself, and the two shall become one flesh, he was referring to the mystery of consciousness. The conscious or objective mind, male aspect, is truly the head and dominates the subconscious or subjective female aspect, meaning that the conscious mind is responsible for shaping the subconscious beliefs that are expressed as physical reality. But the relationship isn't like a tyrant or abuser, but as a lover. By assuming the feeling we would experience if we had already achieved our objective, the subconscious is inspired to build its equivalent in the objective world. But our desires are not accepted by the subconscious until they stop being desires and are seen as already existing and accomplished facts, even if it's only in our imaginations. Even if the reality only exists in our imagination, the mind cannot tell the difference between real and imagined. Only through feeling can an idea be accepted by the subconscious mind, and only through that subconscious acceptance can it ever be expressed in physical reality. It's easier to believe that our feelings are affected by events in the world than admit that our feelings create and are the cause of the conditions in our world. This is where faith comes in. But if we know that everything that could ever exist already does, faith is unnecessary because now we have knowing. Nevertheless, it is an absolute truth that the outside mirrors the inside. As within, so without. As without, so within. As above, so below. As below, so above. The principle of correspondence, the second of the 7 Hermetic principles. A man, or conscious mind, objective reality, can receive nothing unless it is given to him from heaven, the subconscious mind, or boundless imagination. And the kingdom of heaven is within you. Nothing comes from without, or physical reality. All things come from within, the subconscious mind. It's impossible to see anything outside of our own point of view, because even if we were to change it, it would still be our point of view. Every part of our world is our consciousness objectified. Objective states are observations of subconscious impressions. Thoughts are recorded on the film, or the subconscious, and projected on the screen, the conscious. When we change our impressions, we change what's expressed in our outer world. What we feel to be true is what the subconscious accepts as true. Since creation is the result of our subconscious impressions, our feelings are what determine what we create. To the subconscious, we're already what we want to be, based on the feelings we've chosen. It is our refusal to believe this that keeps us from seeing it. Failure to accept responsibility for choosing our feelings doesn't free us from the reality that we are causing our life to be the way it is. It's not your fault when you don't know the rules, but once you know and ignore them, it becomes your fault. Looking for something on the outside that we are not already on the inside will leave us looking in vain forever. We never find what we want, only what we are. We only express and have what we're conscious of being or having. To him that has, it is given. When we let go of the evidence of our senses and apply the feeling of our wish fulfilled instead, we will realize our desires, because feeling them makes them real, and therefore they are no longer desires, but something that we are already in possession of. Mastery of self-control over our thoughts and feelings is our highest achievement. But until we've attained perfect self-control, where we can feel all that we want to feel outside of our five-sense reality, we can use sleep and scientific prayer to aid us in realizing our desired states. These two, sleep and scientific prayer, are the two gateways to the subconscious mind. Chapter 2. Sleep. Sleep occupies roughly 1/3 of our lives. It is the natural door to the subconscious. The conscious 2/3 of our lives is measured by the degree of attention we give sleep. Understanding what sleep has to give us will make us look forward to it like we're waiting to see our lover. A dream is where the subconscious hears the loving request of the subconscious mind and listens for instruction. In sleep and scientific prayer, a state similar to sleep, we can enter the subconscious, make impressions, and receive instruction. In these two states, the conscious and subconscious are joined creatively. The male and female become one flesh. And this may be the importance of lucid dreaming. Sleep is when the conscious mind goes inwards and seeks its lover, the subconscious mind. The subconscious has no desire to change the conscious waking state, but loves it unconditionally and recreates its thoughts into physical reality. The conditions, events, circumstances, situations, and scenarios of our lives are the children created from the union of the subconscious mind during sleep. These children are made in the image and likeness of our innermost feelings so they can reveal us to ourselves. As in heaven, so on earth. So in the subconscious, so in physical reality. Whatever thoughts and feelings we have when we go to sleep are what we manifest in the waking 2/3 of our lives. The only thing standing in our way from realizing our objectives is the failure to feel that we already have what we want to be, or that we are already in possession of what we want. Our subconscious will only manifest what we feel we already have through the wish fulfilled. That's why we see it in our minds first. The unconsciousness of sleep is the normal state of the subconscious. Because everything comes from within us, and how we see ourselves determines what we receive, we should always feel the wish fulfilled before falling to sleep. We never draw out what we want in sleep. We draw out what we are. And we are what we feel ourselves to be, and we believe is true of others, because we get from others what we expect from them. All judgment is self-judgment. What you see in other people is what you create in your reality. To realize the wish fulfilled, we must resolve to feel as if we have, are, or are witnessing the state that we're seeking. We have to determine the feeling we would like to experience and then ask ourselves, if my wish were realized, how would I feel? What would give me that feeling? This is the feeling that should monopolize our attention, that we should fixate on as we relax into sleep. We have to enter the consciousness of being, having or doing what we want to be, do, or have before falling asleep. Once asleep, no conscious mind has freedom of choice. Our entire slumber is dominated by our last waking concept of self. We should always assume feelings of accomplishment and satisfaction before going to sleep. Come before me, the subconscious, with singing and thanksgiving. Enter into his gates, the subconscious, with thanksgiving, and into his courts with praise. Our mood prior to sleep defines our state of consciousness as we enter the presence of our eternal lover, the subconscious. The subconscious sees us exactly as we feel ourselves to be. If we fall asleep assuming and maintaining the consciousness of success by feeling, I am successful, we must be successful. To do this, we lie flat on our backs with our heads flat with our bodies. Then we feel as if we were in possession of our wish and quietly relax into unconsciousness. He that keeps Israel, or infinite possibility, imagination, the subconscious, or God, shall never slumber or sleep, die, or not exist. Nevertheless, he gives his beloved sleep. The subconscious never sleeps. Sleep is the door to the subconscious. The waking mind passes through to join creatively with the subconscious. Sleep hides the creative or generative act, while the objective world reveals it. While asleep, we impress the subconscious with our true beliefs of ourselves. One of the most important descriptions of the romance between the conscious and subconscious mind was told in the Song of Solomon. By night on my bed, I sought him whom my soul loves. I found him whom my soul loves. I help him and not let him go, until I had brought him into my mother's house and into the chamber of her that conceived me. When getting ready for sleep, we feel as if the emotional state has been answered in our physical reality, and then we relax into unconsciousness. Our realized wishes are he who we seek. By night on our bed, we seek the feeling of the wish fulfilled, so we can take it with us into the chamber of her that conceived us, into the sleep, subconscious, that gave us a physical equivalent of our feelings, so our wish can be manifested. This is how we discover and steer our wishes into the subconscious. We feel ourselves in the state of the wish fulfilled and quietly allow ourselves to fall asleep. Night after night, we should assume the feeling of being, having, and witnessing ourselves doing what we wish to be, have, do, or see manifested. Never go to sleep feeling discouraged, dissatisfied, negative, afraid, or in the consciousness of failure. The subconscious's natural state is sleep, and it sees us as we believe ourselves to be. And whether good, bad, or indifferent, it will faithfully embody our beliefs. As we feel, we impress the subconscious, creating the physical reality that corresponds to our subconscious impressions of ourselves and gives birth to them like children. This is the origin of the virgin birth story, which is an allegory, by the way. You are all fair, my love. There is no spot in you, is the frame of mind to be in before going to sleep. We refuse to accept physical reality as it is, and instead feel things into being the way we'd like them to be. He calls things that are not seen as though they were, and unseen things become seen. Assuming the feeling calls corresponding conditions that create the objective world. Signs follow, they do not precede. Evidence comes after belief. The proof always follows the consciousness that we are. It will not come before, because motivation follows action. We are permanent dreamers dreaming temporary dreams. Our dreams become reality as we assume the feeling of their existence. We must never limit ourselves to the past. Now that we know that everything is possible to consciousness, which is simply God playing an individuated role, we can begin to imagine states beyond our experiences of the past. Whatever we can imagine with feeling, we can realize. All objective, visible states were subjective, invisible states first. We called them into visible being by assuming the feeling of the reality. The creative process. First, imagining. Second, believing the state imagined. Third, imagine and expect the best. Fourth, drift off to sleep. The world can't change until we change our beliefs about it. The mirror can't smile until we do. Again, as within, so without. As without, so within. As above, so below. As below, so above. Countries and people are only what we believe them to be. No matter the problem, no matter where it is, no matter who it concerns, there's no one to change except for ourselves. And we have no opponents or helpers in changing ourselves. We only have to convince ourselves the truth of what we want to see manifested. When we succeed in convincing ourselves of the reality we'd like to experience, results begin to reveal themselves, confirming our fixed beliefs. We never tell someone else how we wish to see them. Instead, we convince ourselves that they're already the way we'd like them to be. We accomplish the realization of our wishes by assuming the feeling of the wish fulfilled. The only way we can fail is by failing to convince ourselves of the reality of our wish. Changes in belief are confirmed by a change in our external world. When we fall asleep, feel satisfied and pure of heart. Again, heart is metaphysics for subconscious. As the subconscious always creates the outside world in the image and likeness of the concept defined by our feelings. The 2/3 of our waking lives correspond exactly with our subconscious beliefs. The events of our daily lives are effects, not causes. Free will is merely the freedom to choose what already exists inside the infinity of the subconscious mind. When the Bible says, "Choose ye this day who ye shall serve," it is referring to our freedom to choose our moods, but the expression of that mood is the secret of the subconscious. The subconscious is only impressed through the feelings of the conscious, and turns those feelings into physical reality through a process only known to the subconscious itself. The actions of the conscious mind are a result of its subconscious impressions. Our illusion of free will and belief in freedom of action are only ignorance to the causes that make us act, which is very important to understand the importance of the law of forgiveness. We forgive ourselves and our past because we were ignorant of the laws that govern our destiny and overrule our actions. We think we're free because we forgot the metaphysical link between ourselves and the event. We're obligated to physically express our subconscious impressions. The law of grace allows us to remember that we're in control through control of our thoughts and feelings. By switching to a positive attitude, we're afforded the chance to cut off ties from our negative feelings and replace them with something more pleasant and useful. If we've previously impressed ourselves in a disadvantageous way, with our new understanding of the law, we can begin to change our thoughts and feelings. There is no point in wasting time and energy in regret, because if we think feelingly about past mistakes, we would just be further infecting and reinfecting ourselves, dooming ourselves to more of the same expressions in our outer world. This is why we need to learn to forgive, forget, let go, and move on. Let the dead bury the dead. Turn away from appearances, the beliefs that the physical world holds more control over us than our thoughts and feelings, and assume the feeling we'd experience if we were already the way we'd like to be, had the things we'd like to have, or doing the things we'd like to be doing. Feeling the emotional state produces the physical state. The part we play on the world stage is determined by our image of ourselves. By feeling the wish fulfilled and quietly relaxing into sleep, we cast ourselves into the starring role we play in the world tomorrow. And while we sleep, we are rehearsing and being directed on our role. Our thoughts and feelings are the coming attractions of our lives. Accepting the end results in our imaginations automatically starts the process of realizing it. If we don't consciously feel our way into the feeling of the wish fulfilled before falling asleep, we'll end up taking all of our reactions, thoughts, and feelings of the day with us. And while sleeping, we'll be programming our subconscious to expect to see more of the same tomorrow. This is why revision is so important. When we wake up, although we believe ourselves to be free to make our own choices and decisions, our every action has already been predetermined by the idea we held of ourselves the night before. Every night before we go to sleep, we are giving our subconscious the blueprints for tomorrow. If we don't choose how we want tomorrow to go, the subconscious will use the previous day's default script. Our only freedom is the freedom to choose how we react. We're free to choose how we feel and react to today's drama, but the drama, the actions, events, and circumstances of the day have already been written. Choosing the wish fulfilled before bed is replacing the script. Going to sleep without thinking about how we'd rather see tomorrow play out ensures that we keep acting out the same script day after day. Unless and until we purposely and consciously define our attitude while falling asleep, we unconsciously go to sleep with the combined attitude made of all the feelings and reactions of the day. Every reaction makes a subconscious impression, and unless and until it's neutralized and replaced with an opposite and more dominating feeling, it will be the cause of future actions. Ideas wrapped in feeling are creative actions. It is our responsibility to use our divine right wisely. Through our abilities to think and feel, we have control over all creation. When we're awake, we're gardeners choosing the seeds we plant in our gardens. But except a corn of wheat fall into the ground and die, it abides alone. But if it die, it brings forth much fruit. Our self-image, as we fall asleep, is the seed we drop into the garden of our subconscious. Falling asleep, feeling satisfied and happy, forces conditions and events to appear in our world that confirm our mental attitudes. Sleep is the door to heaven. What we feel, we experience as a condition, action, or an object in space. So, sleep in the feeling of the wish fulfilled. Chapter 3. Prayer. Like sleep, prayer is also an entrance to the subconscious. When you pray, enter into your closet, and when you have shut your door, pray to your Father, which is in secret, and your Father, which is in secret, shall reward you openly. Prayer is similar to sleep, which decreases impressions from the outer world and makes the mind more open to suggestions to the subconscious. The mind in the prayer state is relaxed and receptive, similar to the feeling before falling asleep, known also in esoteric circles as the veil of Isis, or the alpha level. Prayer isn't about asking, it's about preparing to receive. Whatsoever things you desire when you pray, believe that you have received them, and you shall have them. The only condition required is that we believe our prayers are realized. When we assume the feeling of the wish fulfilled, our prayers must be answered if we believe we're already in possession of them. The moment we accept the wish as an already accomplished fact, the subconscious finds ways and means for its realization. The perfectly disciplined conscious mind is always in tune with its wish as an accomplished fact. Such a person knows that consciousness is the one and only reality, all there is, was, ever will be, and ever can be, and that thoughts, ideas, and feelings are creative and just as real as objects in physical reality. They never entertain feelings that don't contribute to their happiness because our feelings create the circumstances of our lives. The undisciplined conscious mind finds it difficult to believe anything that can't be proven by the senses, and usually rejects or accepts based solely on those senses. The conscious mind's tendency to only rely on physical and sensory evidence makes it necessary to shut it off before starting to pray, and before trying to feel what it would otherwise argue and deny. Whenever we feel like, I'd like to, but I can't, we end up trying even harder and making it even more difficult to relax and allow the wish to manifest. We never attract what we want. We only attract what we're conscious of being, and that's what the imagination is for. Prayer is the art and skill of assuming the feeling of being, having, and seeing ourselves doing what we'd like to experience. Our senses will only confirm the absence of our wishes. Any conscious effort to resist this confirmation only helps intensify the resistance and intensifies the belief in its absence. Prayer is the art of allowing the wish without resistance. When our feelings conflict with our desires, the feeling always wins. The dominating feeling is always expressed. Doubt beats desire, but faith beats doubt. Prayer, then, must be effortless. Effort is fatal when trying to fix a mental attitude that the senses disagree with. To successfully allow the wish to be seen as an accomplished fact, we need to create a passive, neutral, objective, non-resistant state. A relaxed, meditative state, also known as a low alpha brainwave, similar to the feeling before falling to sleep. While in this state, the mind turns away from the objective world and can easily sense the reality of the subjective state, a state where we're conscious and yet still able to move and open our eyes, but choose not to. An easy way to access this state is to relax in a comfortable chair or lie down with our heads level to our bodies. We close our eyes. We imagine that we're very sleepy. Feel, I am sleepy, so very sleepy. You can also use the words heavy and warm. After a little while, a faraway feeling and general heaviness and loss of all desire to move wraps around us. We feel a pleasant, comfortable rest and no desire to change position. When this state is reached, we imagine we've realized our wish in the first person. We don't think about how it was realized, only that it was. We picture what we want to achieve in our lives, then feel ourselves as having achieved it. Thoughts produce tiny speech movements, which can sometimes be heard while in this relaxed state as declarations from the conscious mind, like the first kernels in a bag of popcorn popping, telling us that the transformation has begun. These declarations aren't essential. All that is creating the passive relaxed state and feeling the wish fulfilled. Everything we could ever need, want, or desire is already ours. We just need to claim it through feeling. We don't need helpers to give them to us. They're ours now. We express our desires into physical reality by imagining and feeling them as already accomplished. As we live in the accepted end, we become completely indifferent to the possibility of failure, because acceptance of the end reveals the path to that end. When we awaken from our prayer, it's as if we were shown how the end was achieved. Despite having witnessed the end, regardless of any anticlimactic sequence, we remain calm and secure, knowing the end has been perfectly defined. Chapter 4. Feeling. Not by might, nor by power, but by my spirit, say the Lord of hosts. Embodying the state desired requires assuming the feeling we would feel if we were already where we wanted to be, who we wanted to be, had what we wanted to have, or were doing what we wanted to do. As we capture these feelings through harmonic resonance and alignment, we're spared the effort it would otherwise take to make it happen, because it already exists. There's a definite feeling associated with every idea, experience, and physical reality. You might call this a vibrational frequency, as above, so below. We capture the feeling associated with the realized wish by assuming the feeling that would accompany it if we were already in possession of it, and the wish will become objectified. So Jesus was just really good at tuning into specific frequencies. Faith is a belief, which is a thought held in the mind, plus feeling. Sustained belief creates the feeling. According to your faith, your feeling, be it unto you. We don't attract what we want. We attract what we are, and we are what we feel ourselves to be. As we are, so do we see. To him that has it, shall it be given to him, and to him that has it not, shall it be taken away. If we hold it in our minds, we will receive it. If we want it, while knowing we don't have it, it will be moved further from us. Therefore, desire needs to be turned into gratitude. What we feel ourselves to be, we are, and what we already are, we're given more of. That's why gratitude is so important. We assume the feeling that would be ours if we were already in possession of our wish, and our wishes will be expressed in reality. So God created man in his own image. In the image of God created he him. I believe this is saying God created man in his imagination, and the imagined man created God. We live in God's imagination, and the imagination is limitless. Let this mind be in you, which was also in Jesus Christ, who, being in the form of God, thought it not robbery to be equal with God. We are what we believe ourselves to be. Instead of believing in God or in Jesus, we must believe that we are God and that we are Jesus. Jesus wasn't any more special than anyone else. He just discovered something that we've all been conditioned not to believe. He that believes in me, the works that I do, shall he also do. Should say, he that believes as I believe, the works that I do, they also do, and more. Jesus didn't find it strange to do the works of God because he believed himself to be God. But not only himself, everyone is God having an individual experience. I and my Father are one. It is natural to do the works of who we believe ourselves to be. So when we live in the feeling of being the one we want to be, that's what we'll be. We become what we think about. When a man believes in the value of the advice he's given and applies it, he establishes the reality of success within himself. And that concludes this little addendum of The Feeling is the Secret by Neville Goddard. If you have any questions, comments, takeaways, aha, breakthrough moments, anything at all, leave it in the comments and let me see what's going on. All right, guys, I hope you enjoyed this. Take care.